Yo, welcome to PTA Sports. I am your host, Pest the Analyst, and in today's video, I'm going to do something that I really enjoy doing, man, and that's teaching football concepts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my coach hat on, all right, and we're going to go over something real quick. So check it out. I saw a picture on the internet few days ago, right? And when I saw this picture, I got really excited because, it's something that I've seen a lot throughout my air quotes football career. All right, I shared it with a couple of people that I know. Some people were like straight up confused when they saw it. There was a couple of other people that saw it and was just like, yo, I know exactly what that is, man. I've seen that 1,000 times. And I was like, yeah, man, this is really cool, yo. I dig this picture. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go on ahead and we're gonna put this picture up on the screen like this. Kaplow, bang, there it is. So check this out, right? When you look at this picture, like it looks like a different language to some people who've never seen something like this before, all right? But as I said, to me, like as soon as I saw this picture, I knew exactly what it was describing. So check this out. What you're looking at right now, right, is an offensive formation, okay? Now, the offensive formation is not super important in what this is showing you, okay? It's kind of important, but it doesn't matter what the formation is, all right? What's important is everything else. Now, I'm going to start with the actual offensive formation though, okay? So clearly, if you're looking at this offensive formation, you can tell that we've got a center, we've got 2 guards, we've got 2 tackles, and then we have 4 skill position players, okay? Now, just for the people who may not understand what like the other skill position letters mean, right? You got to understand something. This picture is actually kind of old, all right? This picture should be updated a bit, okay? Because when you see your F, you see your Y, you see your Z, okay? In today's terminology, that F would be an X, all right? Because the X, Y, and Z are your wide receivers, okay? Now, this is where it gets a little complicated because that Y may not always be a wide receiver. That Y could also be a tight end, okay? Additionally, that U can also be a tight end. 9 times out of 10, that U is a tight end, but we wouldn't refer to that as the U anymore, okay? Typically, on a team that has a U, okay, that means that they have 2 really good tight ends, okay? Think of like when the Patriots had Gronk and Aaron Hernandez. Aaron Hernandez was that U, okay? That U is typically really agile, a good route runner, okay? But sometimes you may make that U be somebody who's a good pass blocker, all right? So I don't want y'all to get super wrapped around the axles on, like I said, the offensive formation, but I do want y'all to understand what you got here. You got a center, 2 guards, 2 tackles, 3 wide receivers, okay? But you can also have 2 wide receivers and 2 tight ends, okay? Hell, if you're feeling funky, you may throw one of your scat backs, your receiving running back. Maybe he feels that U or that Y position, all right? So boom, there you go. There's your offensive formation. Now, if you look above your offensive positions, okay, you'll see 2 A's, 2 B's, 2 C's, 2 D, and an E over by where the F or the X wide receiver is at, okay? These letters represent your gaps, okay? So when we talk about gaps, all right, when we talk about filling gaps, this is specifically what we're talking about. We're talking about a defensive lineman, one of them big body mofos. They are filling these gaps, okay? Because what you don't want is you don't want to have this gap clear in case this is a run play. When a play is designed, you're going to tell the running back, hey, on this play, you're going to run through the B gap, or you're going to run through the A gap, or the C gap, or maybe it's a stretch play, it's going all the way to the E gap, all right? So this is what these letters represent. These are your gaps. These letters will never change, okay? These letters will always be A, B, C, D, and maybe an E, okay? Now, underneath the offensive lineman, you'll see, like where the center is, you'll see 0, 1, and then you'll see 2I, 2, 3, 4I, so forth and so on, okay? These are referred to as techniques, all right? If you've ever heard someone talking about a defensive tackle, right? And you say, oh, he's a 3 technique tackle. Well, where that 3 is underneath the guard, that is where that defender is going to line up. All right. If you hear somebody talking about a nose guard, okay, that nose guard is more than likely going to line up at that 0 technique or that 1 technique right up, in front of the center. Now, all right, we're going to get a little bit more complicated though, because here's the thing. When you're running a 3-4 versus a 4-3, that's going to really determine where your defensive linemen are going to line up in their techniques, okay? Because in a traditional 3-4, your nose tackle, all right, is going to line up on the 0. Now, maybe he lines up on the 1 on the center's outside shoulder, right? But typically, he's going to line up in the 0. And then you're going to have your defensive ends, right? Again, this is 3-4 technique, 3-4 scheme. You're going to have your defensive ends line up in the 2 or in the 3. 2 or in the 3. Okay, there may be a shift in the line, and you may line up on 2I. 2I essentially means on the inside shoulder of the offensive lineman, and then you're going to have your outside linebackers or your edge rushers. Okay, they're going to line up in the 5 or a 6 technique. If they want to get super crazy, they may line up wide in the 7 or maybe even get in the 8. All right. Man, if they're lining up in the Y, it's because you're bringing a double A-gap blitz. Do you see how that works? You're doing a double A-gap blitz. You're blitzing both A-gaps. See, learning is occurring right now. All right. Now, in a 4-3, right, it's a little bit different because in a 4-3, you're going to have 2 defensive tackles and then 2 edge rushers. All right. Now, traditionally, right, one of those defensive tackles back in the day, one of those defensive tackles were still referred to as the nose guard. But the thing about it is that nose guard is going to line up on that 2I. He's going to line up on the inside shade of that guard's shoulder, okay, on his inside shoulder. Now he may shift over into the 1, but typically he's going to shift into that 2 and kind of play that A gap, while that other defensive tackle is going to be lined up on 2, right in that guard's face. All right. And then you're going to take your ends, and your ends are going to play the 5 or the 6I if there's a tight end there. Okay. So, like I said, man, I saw this picture and I was just like super, super excited because this is something that I've seen a billion times, man. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to actually take this picture, right? And I'm going to post it on my Twitter. And I want y'all to go onto Twitter and I want y'all to save this picture, all right? Because honestly, when you're talking about, your defensive line, you're talking about your offensive line, okay? And especially when you're talking about like running plays, this is a great illustration of how it's going to work because this stuff never changes. As I said, X, Y, Z, yeah, sure, different. That U, nobody really plays U positions anymore, all right? But you can still have your U, okay? But like this is never going to really change in terms of your gaps and your techniques, all right? So listen, that's my video, all right? That's my little coaching moment for y'all. If you're still confused, doesn't make any sense, leave a comment. Tell me what you're confused about, all right? Because listen, when we all learn about how this stuff works, right, we all can watch the game a little bit easier and follow it a little bit easier and understand some of the things that are going on. And with that being said, man, I appreciate y'all coming and checking out this video. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell everybody about PTA Sports, and I'll get up with you guys later. Deuces.